Hamas is making it very difficult to do that because we know that it's
So how do you know you've killed thousands of them?
Because we know who we are targeting. We are targeting on the basis of precise intelligence. This isn't an indiscriminate bombardment as many would like to paint it. Hamas knows that we do not target civilians. It seems to know that better than some in the West. That's why, for example, we recently declassified an intercepted phone call of Islamic Jihad terrorists talking about transporting an anti-tank missile in a baby's pram, because they know perfectly well that Israel is trying to target the terrorists and not the civilians.
Okay, but here's my problem with this, is that by your own admission, you don't know how many Hamas terrorists, and I categorize people who belong to the Hamas organization as terrorists, just for clarity. But you don't actually know, do you, how many of them you've killed?
I have to tell you that I am one of those people who have been following Piers' interviews, or Piers making sure that he gives his platform to both Palestinian supporters and Israeli supporters to both air out their thoughts and opinion, or maybe make their case on the ongoing war in Gaza. And I would say that Piers have done a fantastic job, even though sometimes he kind of annoyed me by the way he interrupt his guests. But he will say he doesn't do that, right? But I'm sure he does. Okay. So I want us to watch this latest interview that he did with an Israeli spokesperson and see how he pushes this guy into really speaking the truth. So just watch the video for a few minutes, and then after that, we can discuss. And please, do not forget to leave your thoughts and opinions in the comment section below, because like always, we love hearing what you have to say. So let's watch the video.
Those barbaric acts that you have spoken so powerfully against, the burnings, the beheadings, the abductions, we simply cannot go back to 6 a.m. on October 7th. That will not happen. That massacre was the straw that broke the back of a very strong camel, and this war is going to end with the end of Hamas.
Okay. How many Palestinians, including Hamas terrorists, have you so far killed?
We know that we've killed thousands of terrorists. We know
well, hang on. Let me ask you about that. So the Hamas-run health authority says it's over 14,000 people have now been killed. Of that, I mean, do you accept those numbers? Because they have been endorsed by other bodies, but do you accept that those numbers are fairly accurate? Historically, they have been.
Hamas is the organization, the army of terror that on October 7th burned, beheaded, abducted people, and then lied about it to the entire international media.
I understand that.
So it is the opposite of a credible source. And
I understand that, but do you accept, given that previous figures that they have given during the many years of this conflict about casualties have turned out to be pretty accurate, do you accept this is likely to be the range of people who've been killed?
First of all, they haven't been proven accurate because historically Hamas never admits in the course of a war that its own terrorists are killed, and that only comes to light afterwards. I'll say what we know about the numbers, and we don't have exact numbers because, Piers, I can't tell you how many Israelis were murdered in the October 7th massacre because we still have dozens of body parts, dozens of body bags of unidentifiable human remains. So the idea that I can give you an exact number is not realistic, but here's what I can tell you. One, we know we've killed thousands of terrorists because our campaign has been target the monsters who perpetrated the October 7th
How do you know they're terrorists?
Two, we know, how do we know they're terrorists?
How do you tell a Hamas terrorist from a Palestinian civilian who's not part of Hamas?
So my people, we've all seen how Piers Morgan challenges this guy into giving a real figure, and they try to ask the question again and again to really get an exact figure. If you said that you have killed about thousands of Hamas fighters, are you really sure? Are you really sure? Can you really give us some proof to support your claim? And the guy was like, well, we are still counting the deaths of Israelis who were killed by Hamas on the 7th of October. We still do not have the exact figure of how many people were killed. So we are still counting the figures. We know it might be 1,200 Israelis that were killed by Hamas. But we are still counting the figures. We do not have a complete figure because some corpses have been burned beyond recognition, and we need to employ other method to kind of like find out who those people were before they were killed by Hamas. And then Piers asked him again, if you say you are doing precision targeting, if you claim that you really know what you are doing and you are really going after Hamas, how are you sure you are not killing children? Because you have said here that Hamas is making your job very difficult. Hamas is doing things, or Hamas is using children as human shield. And so that is making your job difficult. So don't you think that by Hamas doing this, by Hamas applying this tactic, you might be indiscriminately killing civilians, thinking you are killing Hamas? And he went into a very defensive mode to claim that they have enough intelligence to determine if those people were actually Hamas terrorists or Palestinian civilians. And let's assume for a second that it was to be the case, that they are doing precision targeting and they clearly know who is who. How come the death toll has risen to this number? How come we have about 15,000 people killed in Gaza by Israel's bombardment and ground invasion? How come? How come almost all the buildings in the northern part of Gaza has been leveled to the ground? Are you telling me that Hamas had fighters, had terrorists in every single building that was struck down by Israel's bombs? Is that what you're telling me? If that were to be the case, it means Hamas was something else. Yeah, Hamas was something else, if that's what you're telling me. The next point he said was that we shouldn't believe those figures coming from Gaza, because according to him, they are figures produced by quote-unquote Hamas agencies. And so we shouldn't believe them. But we should believe Israel, right? We should believe Israel. Because after all, Israel has always told the truth. Israel has never lied for a single second. Israel has always been forthcoming, isn't it? Is that what he wants us to believe? Is that what the spokesperson wants us to believe? And I get that that's his job, to go out there and put things, right? That's his job, to go out there and defend Israel. That's his job, to make sure that he paints the story in Israel's favor. I totally understand that. But come on. If you are a spokesperson, you should do a nice job. If you are a propagandist, you should do a great job. Don't come on air and say things that people can clearly see that you are lying, or you clearly do not understand what you're talking about. Because Israel's narrative is falling apart. But you guys out there, let me know what you think about this interview between Piers Morgan and the Israeli spokesperson. Do you buy what he was saying? Should we just believe what he was saying or what Israel puts out there? I mean, they are authorities, right? We should just believe every single thing their authority put out there. After all, when have they ever lied to us, isn't it? And please, do not forget to like this video, share this video, follow our Facebook page, and most importantly, subscribe to this channel because that helps us a lot and we shall forever be grateful to you. So thank you very much for doing just that. And like always, see you in the next one.